All right, welcome in. The silliest music and all of horse racing podcasting. It is the Horse Racing Happy Hour. My name is Louie. We're here at the home studio, hanging out with you today. We begin our road to the Preakness 151 segments today. Welcome in Dan Illman and Mackenzie Pfeiffer from the Maryland Jockey Club. You can find Mackenzie on the simulcast there all weekend. You can also catch her on my radio show tomorrow on ESPN 680 and 105.7 right here in the market as well. We are presented today by Never Say Die Bourbon. Today I've got the rye whiskey on me today. Go follow this story. NeverSayDieBourbon.com, named after a horse who began his career in the United States and headed over to England, age 5 years here in the United States, a couple months on a boat, and then a year in England, ship it back here. Double gold medal winner in San Francisco at the whiskey competition there. So you know that it is extremely good stuff. So check them out. NeverSayDieBourbon.com. And of course, if you are wagering this weekend, Amwager and Amwager.com, amwager.com, located right here in Louisville. Good people. They've got a 100% deposit match up to $150, and they have been great supporters, including 0% takeout. So be watching for those once in a while at Laurel Park as well. Welcome in Mackenzie Pfeiffer and Dan Illman to the program here. Dan, do you appreciate me finding my favorite Preakness logo there that is on your sweatshirt right now?
I'm very, very impressed. I knew you had to do something to sort of spice up the presentation here a little bit. You mentioned your studio in the back. It's basically a white wall. I have an excuse because I've only been here for a few months.
I likewise have no excuse. My Blood Horse Monday banner's over here, literally to my left. And so we just kind of swap the banners in and out. And at some point I am going to have to get like a big horse face, like on this spot for sure. Mackenzie, how are you? Welcome back to the Happy Hour. It's nice to see you.
I'm well, thank you. I mean, you could just put the Preakness logo up there. That might be something to consider if you're looking for a little background decor. I
do have something from Pimlico that I'm having framed. And so that will go up behind me. I think Dan knows exactly what it is. And so that will be behind me. It relates to the Happy Hour in a very significant way, very personal way for me. So that will make its way behind us on the wall here. Mackenzie, you might not even know what that thing is, but we'll find out together the next time you're on here. But the road to the Preakness does kick off here, Dan. And I got to ask, does anyone else consider this the road to the Preakness, or is it just me?
It's just you. But it's always too early to start the road to the Preakness. But now that I'm in media relations, I like it. I like promoting the word. The word Preakness seems to get ratings no matter what. So the road to the Preakness, I like it. We're going to start things off. We're hoping that the Black-Eyed Susan winner will be participating in the Smart Halo Stakes, and that perhaps, just perhaps, Preakness 151 at Laurel Park, the winner of the James F. Lewis Stakes, will be right there to take down the Black-Eyed Susans.
Let's go. That would be spectacular. Of course, Deputed Testimony, 1983, the last to win the Tessio and then win the Preakness. Of course, we're trying to find the next Deputed Testimony on this series. I always want to ask what's going on in Maryland when I have you two on. The renovation at Pimlico, and they call it a renovation. That is not what it is. It is a rebuilding at Pimlico. Last time we talked, Dan, it was bulldozers. Have we gotten past the demolition phase at least?
We have gotten past the demolition phase. Now we're slowly starting the rebuilding phase, and it's going to take some time, especially as the winter comes in and the weather gets cold, and we're going to be at the mercy of the elements. But slow and steady is going to win this race. Remember, the Preakness next year in 2026 will be held at Laurel Park, and we will be reopening the new Pimlico, new hilltop, so to speak, Preakness 2027.
The old hilltop. That's exactly right. I think Dave Rodman coined that last time he was on this program. And so I'm not going to argue with Dave Rodman. I'm smarter than that for sure. I also wanted to ask, and I don't know if either of you know, but something that I've noticed in a trend in horse racing, certainly I think of the first example as the Monmouth example, where the horsemen are largely in charge of the operations of Monmouth, et cetera. Dennis Reyes and their team up there. But it's awesome to see, in my mind, at least, the Maryland Stadium Authority involved in this process, Dan, because look where the Ravens play. Look at Camden Yards. They obviously know what they're doing. I'm hopeful that they'll bring that kind of feel to the new Pimlico. But as far as the training center as well, I even have a government link from Carroll County government about the new training center. Can you kind of explain to people what that will look like in the future, that essentially, we're about 20, 25 miles from Pimlico, and that the horses, I imagine, will largely be stabled there and brought in for races?
A lot of the horses will be stabled there. Some, of course, will be stabled at Pimlico. Some, of course, will be stabled at Fair Hill, where they are right now, and they come down to Laurel Park, and, of course, some on private farms as well. We're very excited, as you mentioned, with the Maryland Stadium Authority running the show. As you say, they know how to put on a really nice building, so to speak. We're really looking forward to Shamrock Farm. We think there's going to be a lot of excitement there. Housing, not only a good amount of horses, a strong population, but also a very safe surface. And we'll get some foundation for these horses when they'll be ready to race.
We're leaving Timonium in the schedule here. Yes, Mackenzie, right? We're not going away from that bull ring you guys got north of town, right?
As far as I know, yes. I mean, that's where I got my start with the handicapping stuff. So that would be a really sad day for me.
There you go. Last time we were on, everyone gave me the Timonium maiden breaker, and that horse ran. I think he's still running. That's what happened on the show last time. So I don't know that you want to listen today, Dan, but here it is. Yeah, here.
I told you about Timonium. It's a very nice place to visit. Enjoy the kettle corn, enjoy the fried Oreos, enjoy the pig races, enjoy the 4-H club, but certainly don't take anything that occurs on that racetrack seriously. And I love all of those racetracks, but let's be honest here. I mean, we've seen horses that just love Timonium. They can't stand up at Laurel and vice versa. It's like the Kentucky Downs on dirt.
I'm with you until those two finishers went 1-2 in the British Cup Turf Sprint. But anyways, we're going to move on from that.
Okay, so now they're 1 for 190.
That's probably 2 for 190. You settle down over there, Dan Illman. There you go. Mackenzie Pfeiffer, Dan Illman with me. I'm Louie Rabeau. This is the Horse Racing Happy Hour. Thanks for hanging out with us today. We're going to go through the late pick 5 there at Laurel Park, and I want to set the scene for anyone that's thinking about maybe a trip up from DC or down from Baltimore to Laurel. You're thinking about Saturday. You're like, man, I don't know what the weather's going to be like. I don't know if Laurel Park takes care of the bettors. And I have terrific news. 71, partly cloudy, and 12% takeout on that late pick 5. And I mean, I'm telling you, buddy, this is Chamber of Commerce stuff for you guys.
And it's been Chamber of Commerce stuff, right, Mac, for like what, 3 months now, 4 months. We've had one off the turf day since we've returned from our hiatus at Colonial. I believe we're the track with the most turf races since the summer. All across North America, we've run about 105 turf races.
Wow.
Turf expected Friday and Saturday. We've got a lake 5-figure lake carryover into the lake value pick 5, low 12% takeout. No one treats the better than the Maryland Jockey Club.
That's exactly right. 12% takeout, a carryover tomorrow into the late pick 5 on Friday. But you, of course, will hear from us about Saturday. A couple of maiden claimers on the bookends, but boy, a 2-year-old trio in the middle. Fascinating pick 3, a difficult sequence as well. Should be a lot of fun. And frankly, if we get another carryover, your boy would not be too terribly surprised. But let's get straight into it. The late pick 5 on Saturday. Race 6 will be a $16,000 maiden claim. We're going 5.5 on the turf. This is for fillies and mares. Essentially 3 and up. We're running for $24,000. Mackenzie, we start with you here. I love this sequence because, I mean, we got double-digit horses all over the place. Where'd you land in this one?
I do. I have to be honest, it's not too exciting for me in the beginning and the last. I try to really key around those races. I wish I could just narrow it down even more. But the 1 and the 11 here in the 6th race, Holy Brick on the inside, and then My Sunshine Girl on the outside. I think both of those, plenty of reason to go ahead and suspect they improve. Holy Brick's going to be the speed and just cut right to the chase from the inside. But she took plenty of pressure last time out. And so that's where I give her a little bit of respect and think that she might be able to hang tough, especially at this level. My Sunshine Girl on the outside struggles with that lead change. And that's where, I don't really want to be all in on that type. But I think she can run the right type of race that, for me, she's a must use in there. And if you're trying to skim down, that first leg is always a nice one because you can get back into the pick 4.
What an 11 for Mackenzie there. 1 probably going to be on the lead. My Sunshine Girl probably going to be stalking right on the lead there. Dan, did you land anywhere else?
I like Holy Brick as well. I think Mackenzie laid it out perfectly. I thought this horse ran very well last time out, pretty much pressing the pace in a race won by the favorite. Dug deep down to the wire, is likely going to make the lead in the rail. And the way the turf course has been playing, it's been, I think, slight lean towards speed. It works for a horse like Holy Brick. These are maiden claimers, however. I'm not sure I would be singling Holy Brick, but I would use horses like maybe Mun Can Run, the number 12, who I think has a chance to drift up off the 2-1 morning line. This is a horse that's turning back in distance, and I just think 2 turns wasn't there. And the last time this horse ran in a turf sprint, he got wired by the favorite. Take back, make 1 run. And what about each peach, pear, plum? Delicious. This horse showed speed last time out at Delaware in a 2-turn race and finished ahead of a horse that came back to win with a 55 Beyer speed figure. Now, that horse showed speed going 2 turns, I can't see her making the lead against Holy Brick, but maybe a stalk and pounds trip. This barn does very well third off the layoff.
I have each pair of plum on top, and it's a Dan Illman special going route back to sprint. In this case, I will use that angle on top. I went 9, 11, 12, and 1. So I agree with you all very much on the first leg of the pick 5. We're talking through the late pick 5 at Laurel Park on Saturday as we kick off. This is the only place in the world that does this. The road to the Preakness. Of course, the James F. Lewis is the big race of the day in race 9 alongside the Smart Halo, of course. In race 8, we'll talk about race 7. One of those aforementioned middle trio of races featuring 2-year-olds. We're going to the maiden ranks here, maiden special, 6 furlongs on the dirt for those 2-year-olds, $47,000 on the line, Dan. And just another fun one in here, another full field of 10.
Another full field of 10. You can't stop Gary Capuano, can you, Mac? I think he's won 17 2-year-old races this year. It's somewhat remarkable. He's got Awesome Andy looking to make it 18 for Yetzid Hazelwood. Awesome Andy ran well in the career debut, set the pace, kind of got pressured, raced. They kept this horse well off the rail, turning for home. He was in the 3 path. He got bumped in upper stretch, and he tired at the end. But Gary's only 10 for his last 20 with 2-year-old second-time starters in dirt sprints. So something tells me Awesome Andy's not going to bounce off that race and will show good speed. Hometown Bound, the number 8's a very interesting first-time starter. This horse breezed a furlong in 9 and 4 at the OBS March sale, sold for $350,000. There's a lot of pedigree in here. And if you look at the last workout, same time, same day as a horse named Bolt of Orem for Jorge Duarte. That's a 4-year-old that's already popped a 93 Buyers speed figure. I wonder if they worked in company. I think Hometown Bound can run a little bit, and being by Matoli out of the factor, speed on speed.
Mackenzie, he mentioned Yetzid Hazelwood, who is, as of today, tied for lead in wins with Jorge Ruiz there in the Colony. A remarkable story. Almost certainly, I'm an Eclipse voter. I'm almost certainly going to be voting for him as apprentice jock here, and in a long tradition, frankly, in Maryland of apprentice jocks that win Eclipse awards. The list is extraordinarily long of very talented riders who have come through there. Do you think he's got a shot to win this thing?
This race or the Eclipse? Because
neither. Actually, the riding title at Laurel.
Yeah, sorry. Honestly, all of the above.
Okay, yes, right.
And it's really impressive. He had a little bit of a break earlier on due to an injury this year, and still just can't take anything away from him. I mean, he came back stronger than ever, and that's kind of the key. Is he's so incredibly strong. It was so fun watching him through the beginning of the year as things just really clicked into place. He came out riding really well, but to watch the finesse and just the mind that he has developed over the year has been incredible. So I think there's a very good chance, especially when he's teaming up with Gary Capuano and he's getting on really good horses. It's pretty likely.
Yeah.
And just think, guys, he's 17 years old. I mean, how remarkable is that? His first ever Jim McKay Maryland Million, he wins 4. He won 4 the other day. And he has such an advantage over Jorge, who is just a fantastic rider in his own right. Jorge specializes a lot on turf, and a lot of his main clients, Michael Trombetta, Graham Motion, they're turf guys. Well, turf season's coming to an end. I think that gives Hazelwood a big advantage in the Riders' title meet, and certainly he's the best apprentice I've seen this year.
It's a remarkable story for sure at 17 years old there in the Maryland circuit. But Mackenzie, do you agree? Is he the rider to beat here at least?
I do. I mean, it's pretty incredible. And you mentioned the storied history of Maryland and some of these apprentice riders. And it's really fun to see him coming through here because I think, he's 17 and he has a long way to go. So it would be great to watch his career build.
For sure. And does he win this race? And I think you said yes.
So I think he has a likely chance. But getting back to this race in particular, I use Awesome Andy in my pick 5. He does not land in my top 4 selections, though. So that's kind of the irony. It's a spread race for me. I completely understand it. I actually take a shot with Respighi just on the inside, who I thought, was chasing a gate to wire winner for Cal Lynch last time out. This is a half to Nimitz class. And he looked pretty professional on debut, but he just never could quite close that gap. And I mean, they went quick. I know it's over at Penn, but he kept digging deeper, add a little bit more ground, and I like that he has the experience and, didn't necessarily get his way, but was game to go ahead and fight along with it.
I have that horse fourth in my handicapping. I landed on the 4 horse on top here at Awesome Andy. Stunner there, but then went to the 10 later outside and work hard, play hard. Just missed a Delaware last out. I don't love the 113-1. I think the horse is going to have to run faster than that when we get down here to Laurel. But I think that form can absolutely translate. And frankly, we've seen a lot of those Delaware Park runners show up really well in their next spots, wherever it is, whether it's at Parks or Laurel, etc. Dan, do you have a second horse here, maybe a third even to fill out a try, maybe?
Well, I like that first-time starter that I mentioned. I mean, he's the kind of horse I want to use. But since I think Awesome Andy is going to be very, very tough, Mac probably taught me on to her top pick in this race that I would use as the third choice. But I don't want to go too deep because I figure Awesome Andy is going to take a lot of money. I'm probably going to use Awesome Andy the first, and now Max talked me onto the other one because I don't want her to knock me out. I'll never hear the end of it.
Well, good for Mac. I like that. That makes me very happy. We'll move on to the Smart Halo. This is the horse racing happy hour. Her name's Mackenzie. His name's Dan. I'm Louie. We're hanging out with you, and we will do this once a month until we get to Tessio Day, and then we'll do that again. Hopefully, I'll make it to Tessio Day this year. That would be really nice. Then we're going into these races. These are 6 furlong races. And Dan, let's kind of just explain the process of getting to the Tessio for local horses here. This is not a Maryland bred or sired race. This is an open company race, so people can bring in their horses from wherever they were frankly born or sired or whatever. But we started essentially at 6 furlongs, so we're going to run at that distance for a couple of months before certainly the Colts, a little bit before the fillies will stretch to 7 and then to the 1-turn mile there at Laurel before trying the 2 turns.
But there is really a nice progression here. I mean, other tracks, they're kind of 6 to a mile, then 7, then a mile and a 16th. Here you have the natural progression from 6 to 7, the 1-turn mile, then the 2-turn mile and a 16th, the private terms. And then, of course, you got the Tessio at a mile and an 8th. So if you want to take this route and your horse passes one test, there's no reason why you want to try another furlong. And hopefully we get to see a horse continue on and make it through the Tessio into the Preakness. But it's just that natural progression that I think is very attractive here for the local horsemen. You're not going to see too many of them, even if they have good, talented ones, unless they've got ones that want to get Kentucky Derby qualifying points. They're going to stay here and try to make the money and, again, build fitness and foundation with the additional distance.
Seen a lot of very good runners who have run in really good stakes, including Barbadian Runner, who was on this path last year. And so keep your eye on many of these kinds of horses, even if they don't end up being classic winners. Many times we see them later in their careers, winning races at Charlestown at high levels, that sort of thing. So keep your eye on a lot of these runners here. Race 8, again, is the Smart Halo. It's on the filly side of things, 2-year-old fillies here, 6 furlongs on the dirt, as we mentioned. And I consider this the road to the Black-Eyed Susan, and no one else does. But you know what? Dan's in media now, so he agrees with me. How about that? Mackenzie, where'd you land in the Smart Halo?
Just filtered on the inside. Really, I mean, hard for me to go against. So with 2-year-olds, here's my preface. It means a lot to me just sort of how they're maintaining them between races as much as it does how they're running in the races. Superstitious, I think, is really, really impressive. I loved the way that she was able to win, but still kind of a quick turnaround. She had a lot of work to do. And, she's had 2 works back since then. And some, how much do you want to do? You're going short. I think, if they're coming into the race with enough condition, sometimes I wonder, you want to maintain them for longer. So that's where I land with Just Filtered. She comes out of a really competitive group, grade 3 matron. Ran well enough there for me, but comes back to the dirt and, was a debut winner on the surface and then even won the Keswick early on. So I think she's kind of hard to go against and has enough tactical speed. She can probably work out the trip from inside.
Not a lot of arguments against her there. Trombetta, very good in stakes as well, especially at this level, Dan.
I talked to Mike earlier this week. He said Just Filtered's training into this race just as well or better than she did on the turf last time out. He feels dirt or turf, it really isn't going to make a difference. But perhaps right now, dirt's okay. And he isn't concerned about breaking from the inside post. He feels she has enough speed to get to the lead. And if someone wants to go crazy, he's very happy with her rating. He thinks she's a very smart, professional 2-year-old. And quite simply, as Mackenzie mentioned, she is the filly to beat. There are some very interesting horses in this race. Now, Beach Heist, the number 6, is going to scratch. Will Walden's going to run this horse on turf, but he's going to run Holland Drive, the number 2. And you want to talk about pedigree? She's by Practical Joke. She's a half-sister to Tolly, who won the Breeders' Cup Sprint. Also a half-sister to Hot Rod Charlie, who won the Pennsylvania Derby. This is a huge pedigree at 15-1 on the morning line. Holland Drive graduated at Horseshoe, Indianapolis. I talked to Will. He's kind of saying he wants to get some of the pressure off, get some black type in her, and then move on. Prosecco Rita, Brittany Russell's horse, won by a zillion last time out. Brittany says she's a little quirky behind the gate, and it's really they know she can run. It's whether she can behave herself in the paddock. I agree with everything Max said about Superstitious. I'm a little bit concerned about this horse turning back in distance, especially after Robbie said in the Maryland Million winner's circle, going to give her a little bit of time and think about next year. I wouldn't be Dan Illman if I wasn't thinking about a Gary Capuano horse. Doc's Miracle, the number 8, yes, must improve. I will say that. Doc's Miracle did all the heavy lifting in the Maryland Million, dueling for the lead with 2 other horses on a day where speed didn't hold, and then holding second behind odds-on Superstitious. Draws outside here, doesn't have to run and gun, going to be a good price. Give me Doc's Miracle at a little bit of a price.
All right, Mackenzie, you have access to the show sheet. Who do I have on top in this race? I have the same horse. And so I'm on the 8 here. I have a terrible feeling, Dan, we're not going to get anywhere near that number. I totally agree. If you watch that last race, she did all of the work.
Well, there's a lot of weight right there.
That horse has no chance. By the way, Will Walden, awesome that he's sending horses to Maryland. Of course, just had Rhetorical as his first BC starter just this past weekend in the Turf Mile. Yeah, Doc's Miracle. I think a lot of this too is Yedzi. I'm not going to lie. Like, that really does stand out to me as a major positive in here, getting Hazelwood aboard, frankly, in this spot. I went 8-1-7-4 in here. I agree with Mackenzie about just filtered. Superstitious, it's just hard to look past, right? She just shows up every time. We know what we're getting from her. And so, it's one of those horses that has never been outside the exacta in 4 races. That's always attractive to me amongst 2-year-olds. And so, Mackenzie, I think those 4 will stand out for me. But man, yeah, Dan, see, this is the problem with hanging out with Dan, is eventually he has this kind of influence on you. And then you start thinking like him about Maryland races. Maybe that's good. I don't know, but you work with him. Is it good or not?
I don't know. Sometimes I have to come to the table with my own argument for it. And sometimes I walk into it saying, I know I'm talking this horse into the winner's circle by not using it. And I'm standing by it. Many a times. Ask me about.
Yeah, I've never done that personally. No, I would never do that. Yeah, no, that never happens. Would be a really fun rendition of this race, though.
It should be, yes. And it's funny because Superstitious, when I saw her on Maryland Million Day, she's just big, mature, really, really classy type. And if you see her in person, it's hard not to fall in love with her. I think she deserves more than the 64 buyer than she ran last time out too.
I also appreciate
she's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, Maggie was down there for Fox for Maryland Million, and she just was gushing over Superstitious, how well she looked in the paddock. And she's a beautiful, beautiful horse. We like to see the local horsemen do well. Robbie Bales with a Maryland bred. Louie, you may continue now.
It's all right. I voted for Maggie for the Jim McKay Award this year. Anyways, I appreciate also how honest Brittany Russell is about these horses. Like, she's got a little bit of an attitude problem. She does, that kind of thing. And I just appreciate the brutal honesty we always seem to get for Brittany, who's always on top of what is going on in her barn. We move on to the late double. Race 9 is the James F. Lewis III. I will be honest, I don't know who James F. Lewis is. Dan, who is James F. Lewis?
James F. Lewis was the first president of the Maryland Million. He was a very noted horse breeder and owner. And I have a trivia question. One of James F. Lewis's offspring, graded stakes winning trainer. Would you like to hazard a guess?
It's going to be the same last name, and this is a terrible job by me. I have no idea, Dan. I apologize.
One of my favorite ROI trainers over the years, may not have as many horses anymore, Lisa Lewis.
Oh, no kidding. I would not have put that together. All right, well, we move on to race 9. It is the Lewis. It is 6 furlongs on the dirt. Going over the colt side of things here. Again, 2-year-olds here. We're calling this the start of the road to the Preakness. $100,000 on the line here. Mackenzie went first last time. Dan, we'll ask you who you've got on top of the Lewis.
This is a complete skull buster. I'm going to trust Mackenzie here and just roll with her picks. But to be honest with you, I'm going to lean a little bit towards Channel the Music, the number 3 for Jorge Duarte. Maybe a little bit cheap on paper, winning at Colonial 2 starts back. I watched this horse's sapling on dirt, and that race was at a mile, a 2-turn mile, and he loomed boldly at the 3/16. He had a huge look at it, and I think the distance saw him out, not the other way around. They ran him on turf last time out. He didn't seem to like it. So they're shorting him up here in a dirt sprint in a race where he's going to get some pace. And I just think he's dirtied up enough that he's going to be a price in here. I respect a horse like Balboa for Brittany Russell. They're putting the blinkers back on. Supposedly, Brittany was very impressed with this horse's last work. He's got his head bashed in his last 2 races against grade 1 horses. He's going to fit well with these. I'm just not sure how much of a short price. The question is, how good is Big Cuddle? Because if you watched his Maryland Million, he might be very good.
It's a fantastic question. How good is Big Cuddle? I'm very uncomfortable asking a woman that question, but Mackenzie, how good is Big Cuddle?
I mean, he's another one who I was pretty all in on him when it came down to things on Maryland Million Day. And to run like he did, there are not many horses in North America that you see do that. He did not get away from the gate, and he ran every single step of 6 furlongs flat out and 6 wide, 7 wide. Form says 6 wide. It looked wider than that to me, to be honest, and still just kept going. You talk about Hazelwood, right? To have the confidence in a horse to ride him, somehow get him to take a breath and finish a race. That's the replay that you have to watch when you're thinking about the eclipse and everything else, because really he is that good. And what I think is attractive is they don't work this horse back. They just maintain him. It's a family that has some natural speed, but unlike the other ones, he's pretty comfortable coming from off of it. And if he can run that race again, I think he's odds on here.
Who else is interesting to you?
Well, and so that's where it is, because it's a fantastic handicapping race. You have a reason to go against everyone. You have a reason to go for everyone. Gurney Halleck is one who's interesting. The Lasix question is there for me. That's something that I have a hard time with when you're talking about sprinting on the dirt, though. So I look to channel the music as well. He's one who, Dan, you said he didn't run much or didn't like the turf, but that was in the futurity at Belmont, and he missed by 3 lengths. So it might still be there. Maybe give him a pass. But I think he can sit the right kind of a trip in this race. He's run really well. And again, I agree with Dan on the mile just being a bit much, but I think that 3 back maiden special weight win is convincing enough for me. How about the 8 though? Are you're not talking about Sometime at 30-1 on the morning line, who, ran okay enough at Keeneland last time out against Outfielder. If you can get 30-1 or near that to round things out, I think he's kind of an interesting player in here.
Dan, I need to know who the rider is on 9, and because I have a conundrum. And Mackenzie, I need you to hear this in front of the millions of people that are watching. Dan has told me many times, as we praise Yedzie Hazelwood over and over, that this is horse racing and not jockey racing. He's told me many, many times. And I have good news. That the 9 horse here for Gary Cap doesn't have a rider. So hopefully the horse will just break, not have to carry the weight, and just win the race, since it's not jockey racing. And so, Dan, do you happen to know who might be riding this horse? Because I love this horse. It reminds me a lot, frankly, of what Super Corridora just did in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, coming out of a dominating maiden where she just got to the front and did it. I know that that's what they're going to try to do with this horse, depending on if it gets a person on its back or not.
It makes me think that maybe Hollywood Import's not going to run, because Hazelwood was named on both.
Yeah.
And he's going to be, of course, go on Big Cuddle. And Gary hasn't named a rider just yet. And Gary, I think, really likes this one, Hollywood Import. He had him entered in a first level allowance the other day, and he was positioned in post 12. And Gary said, forget that. I'm not dealing with that with this horse. I'm curious to see if we get a late rider change and Hollywood Import does run. Don't say he's scratched yet. He is certainly not. But I am wondering if Gary's going to run him in this race going 6. I thought his debut was really good, because I have a feeling he actually wants to go longer. He broke sharp, and he was just run off his feet in the early part of that race. And he slowly started to pick it up, and he grinded him down, and he came wide. I was really taken with that performance, and I think they like this horse a lot, and I'm not sure, they want to run him against Big Cuddle, especially going 6. But we'll see.
I agree with you. By the way, that's an honor AP Curlin mare. I mean, distance should be well within that bloodline for sure with him. I'm actually, this channel the music with McLean's music and then an Empire Maker Dam is actually very interesting to me. As we go through this series, we get to that mile, maybe even get to 2 turns. That might be one that we're watching come the springtime. I really want to bet the 9, but I really need to know who the rider is. I really like his form. And what I really like,
what difference does it make? Unless it's some complete incompetent that came off the street and you threw him on his bed, you'd be like, well, maybe I don't want to play Hollywood Import. Okay, if John Velasquez was riding Hollywood Import, all that happens is you lose 3 points.
Right. Yeah, no, that's exactly.
Toledo is on, you get 3 points. He's the third best rider in Maryland. Come on.
Let's go. The other part of that is whoever his exercise rider is, just get that guy. The work from the gate last out. Let's just do that.
But he might weigh 140.
Yeah, let's just do that. So Gary, if you're watching, and I know you are, just go ahead and get that exercise rider up for us. We'd really appreciate it.
Might have been Hazelwood.
Get it done. Let's get this all together. Come on, man, make this happen for me. I need things in my life. All right, here we go. All right, we'll go to the closer here. Another maiden 12-5 to close the card here. Nice full gate again here. Double-digit horses, 10 of them. We do have an even money favorite on the inside, Dan, and this is one of those races. I'm sure you're like me, and you see the morning line. You're like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to find the winner. That's not the number 1. I'm going to do it. And then you look around and you go, oh, crap. I think I'm going to have to bet the 1 here. Dan, who's beating the 1?
I can't find anyone beating the 1. I mean, in
we're all playing.
I hate these give up moves. And Brittany's just sort of putting the for sale sign, and it's like it's like the yard sale. And Destination's being led out into the garage, out of the garage, and just they're putting the tag on and hoping someone drives by and is very interested in the Liam's map. Dark Bay or Brown filly. But Destination also has speed, and Destination drops in class, and that is a huge, huge angle in horse racing. And breaking from the rail, it's now or never for Destination. If she breaks, she gets to the front. She probably wins this race going 6 furlongs. If I tried to beat her, maybe 5th gear for Phil Capuano. I think that's kind of an interesting horse. Coming off of a long layoff, but this horse came off of a year layoff, I think 2 starts back, and they ran 2 turns against a very sharp horse. And then last time out, look at the fractions this horse was pushing, 24.40, and then went faster the second quarter, 24.24 over turf. Turn back. If Destination doesn't stay, maybe 5th gear picks up the pieces. But again, I'm interested in Mac's opinion here.
Yeah, I'm also 1-7 here, Mac. Where'd you land?
It's pretty funny because you summed it all up from the get-go, and it doesn't help that Destination's the first horse you see when you look at it, right? Like, surely they're somewhere else.
Right.
Surely. I'm gonna keep looking. Yeah. Oh, there's no AE list. Oh, okay. I guess we're on the 1. So yes, Destination, but just to her outside, can I make the case for the 2, Valerie Street? She has the speed just to her inside if Destination breaks, and Tice does a really good job sometimes getting these types of horses encouraged and a little bit braver. And I like the 6 furlong effort. And I just think those 2 last out types of trips, she's not beating the world in some of these other starts, but is she good enough to maybe just go ahead and wear things down if she sits right there the entire way and Destination really doesn't necessarily want to take that pressure? Maybe.
I can't argue.
Very confident maybe there. There we are. All right. Into this card for sure. A reminder of a couple of pick 5 notes. 12% takeout in Maryland. You can't beat it. Literally just can't beat it. And on top of that, carryover in the late pick 5 on Friday. So take your first stab, build that bankroll, get ready for the James F. Lewis Day on Saturday. You guys at the Maryland Jockey Club, you like to name things. Every weekend has to have a theme. Mackenzie, is there a theme this weekend? Is it like Apple Orchard Cinnamon Weekend? Is like what's going on at Laurel Park this week?
No, believe it or not, I'm not a big pumpkin spice person, but it is veterans. This weekend,
that makes much more sense. All right, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, Louie.
Oh, I didn't know that's
how do you get a show? That's what I want to know.
What's funny is I do the Veterans Day pick 5 at Horseshoe Indianapolis every year, and I'm already getting the emails about that, and it's not in my brain right now for some reason. I do this show. I don't know what my wife's favorite color is. It's my life. There you go. So, all right. Well, he's Dan and she's Mackenzie. They're from the Maryland Jockey Club. Give me like 30 seconds. I'm going to close the show. You two, I'd love to a couple quick things to wrap up afterward. But thank you and all the best on your 71 degrees and beautiful weather on Saturday.
Thanks, Louie. Always good talking to you, brother.
Thank you.
Bye, Mackenzie. All right, this has been the Horse Racing Happy Hour. I'm Louie Rabeau. Thanks for hanging out with us at the top of our Road to the Preakness series. I'm really, really pleased that we do this all year long. Love the Maryland circuit and certainly the people involved there, as well as you can see through all of these episodes. So thanks to Mac. Thanks to Dan for hanging out with us here on the program. Mackenzie's back with me tomorrow on ESPN 680 105.7 in the morning as we talk through these races again. We shall have some new thoughts by tomorrow. Maybe we'll beat that one by the time we get to the morning. Again, for Mac and Dan, my name's Louie. See you next week.